Hey guys, this is Chris from Empire Bricks and welcome to my Y-Wing comparison video. Today we're having a look at two different Y-Wing ships from LEGO. The one on the left is from set 7150 and was the first version of the Y-Wing. The one on the right is set 75172 and is the latest version of the Y-Wing. And having said that, I thought that would be a really good reason to put them next to each other and just have a look at what the differences are and if, one or the other might be better in certain areas and which one you could actually buy or build. How am I going to approach this? Well, I'm not going to have a look at the minifigures because simply the newer one would definitely win. Because just in sets today you have more minifigs and they're way more detailed, so that would not be a fair comparison in my opinion. What I did include is the additional builds from both sets because that is something that these sets have in common. They both come with a little additional build, and that is something that I absolutely love. I just wish LEGO would do that more. And these are just one of those. These are sets that both have one, and there happen to be both Y-Wings. So I thought it would be great to put them next to each other. So starting off, I'll just come with the piece count, and the one on the left has about 200 pieces, and the one on the right has about 550 pieces. So that is a little bit over double the amount of pieces. To be honest, it's way over double the amount of pieces. Why do I say about? Well, that is because this one is from set 7150 and it comes in that same set with the Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, which consumes some of the pieces. Also, the minifigures count as pieces, and this one counts as pieces, the additional build. So I'm not exactly sure how many are in there, but I think it's about 200 pieces, and the same goes for this one. There's an additional build, there's some minifigs, so I had to detract a little bit of the pieces that go into that. But I think it's a fair estimation, and that gives you an idea of how far LEGO has come and how many more pieces you need to build a Y-Wing today. Another difference or something that we have to look at is the size. And I can tell you already that they are exactly the same size. I can actually put them on top of each other, which I'll do in a minute, and they're just exactly the same size. And I think that's pretty incredible because the one on the left actually looks pretty good. It looks like a Y-Wing. It has great details in my opinion, especially for that time. So yeah, I think that LEGO did a great job on that. But before we dive into the ships, let's have a look at the additional builds. The 7150 set comes with it's a little bit hard to get it straight, but a glider of sorts, which is meant to hold one mechanic figure and brings you some tools and stuff for maintenance on the Y-Wing. The middle platform is just to carry more troops or figures, and the front one comes with two bricks that are kind of in between, so they're loose but they're stuck. And some lights that are supposed to be held by a minifig to kind of signal the Y-Wing to the place it needs to go, and some handlebars for the minifigure in the front to steer this little vehicle. I think this is great, and it was really nice to have this with a set, especially in that time, although I have to say that older sets tend to have this a little bit more often than the newer sets have. So moving on to the newer Y-Wing, and it has an additional build as well, and it is a little bit of a crane that brings you ammunition. So I'm still going to get into the features of both ships, but this carries some proton torpedoes and these spring-fired missiles that go into the Y-Wing, and it comes with a seat and a crane. So it's much more detailed than the other additional build, but kind of has the same function, and I really like the detailing on this thing, and I really love that they included something with this ship. So it's pretty cool, but in my opinion, it's sort of a draw. They both come with a great additional build. I think some people might like the one, some people might like the other, but I think that's something that they kind of are the same in that sentence. So just to come back to the size comparison, I'll just put them over each other for just a second. You can see that they are exactly the same. I think the front of the newer one is simply one brick longer. It's the Technic pins that make it a little bit longer, but basically it's the same size, and I think that's pretty incredible. Well, looking at the features of both ships, of course, the newer one has a little bit more to offer, but let's start with the old one. It has turnable blasters on top of the canopy, which is kind of cool. You can open it. It's actually the same canopy piece, or at least the same mold as for the new Y-Wing. It just has a little bit of a different print. Just has some lines, and this one has a fully printed top to make it close on the top piece. Then if we move a little bit to the middle, this Y-Wing has room for an astromech and actually can go in sideways, so horizontally, if you would look from it like this. And I think that's pretty great, because some of the newer ships, I think some X-Wings as well, have astromechs that are, kind of halfway turned into the ship, which is of course not exactly how they should be in the ship, but it was a design choice to put them in there just because there was no room. I think it's pretty cool that an old set actually has the space to put the astromech in as it should. So in the back of the older ship, just put the new one on the side a little bit, there is not much going on except for the engines, which are sort of the classic design, but there is a little bit of space to hold some items here in the back. So you could put in the lightsaber or guns or binoculars or anything that you would have gotten with the minifigs. But that's about it. Looking at the features, there's not that much going on. So I guess that's kind of a pity, but it's an old set. There weren't any spring-fired missiles. There were no flick-fire missiles. There was nothing like that. So most of those ships were about the looks anyway, and I think it's pretty great that they put in the astromech in right, and that there was some space in the back. I think that is almost as much as you can ask for. Going on to the newer Y-Wing, you can actually see that it is loaded with stuff, but starting in the front, there is some blasters as well, and just like the older one, you can actually turn them, but the same problem as with the older ones is that if you have them in the front position, you cannot open the canopy piece, which I think is something that they could have solved in 20 years. But still, it looks great. I think it's an improvement because the blasters on the older one look, a little bit big in comparison to the ship. So I think this is a great improvement when you're talking about the design. So moving on to the canopy, it has a printed piece, but it just opens and closes and nothing more. The inside has a sticker for a dashboard, which is something, of course, that didn't happen before and does happen now. There are more stickers in sets, but when we go to the middle, you can actually see that there is space for an astromech, but there is just it's sideways. It's not how it should be. It should be horizontally. Now it's vertically placed. I think that's a kind of a missed opportunity, because if I just look at the portion of the ship back here before I come to the other function, I think there is well, I'm not an expert, but I think you could have put in the astromech as it should be somewhere back here, but I understand the design choice, but it's a little bit of a pity. Looking at other functionalities, and this is the great stuff, is you can actually drop proton torpedoes with this ship. So you can turn on this Technic piece over here, and the proton torpedoes will come out. You can put them back in here, and it has sort of a revolver mechanism that loads them and drops them. It can hold 3 at a time. You can put in a 4th as soon as you dropped one of the 3. So, considering the functionality, I think the proton torpedo system is just amazing, especially when you're building it. It's a piece of genius, I have to say. But I really don't like the astromech that is in the wrong position. So that's a little bit of a flaw in my opinion. So having said the size, piece count, and functionality, just have a overall look at the design of both ships. Excuse me. So this ship is less detailed, of course. It has less pieces, and any greebling that you can find is in the middle. There's some hose pieces that should be some tubes or something, but most of it is done by using those printed tiles, and that's about it. There's not that much greebling, and the newer Y-Wing has tons and tons of greebling. So just looking at the top, you can see that it's just a great design, and I really like that attention to detail. So Having said that the looks of the newer one are better, but that's not a really fair comparison. The functionality is pretty great, but just overall, which one would be better? And I think that they are, kind of on par, because the newer one is not cheap. We just have to say, depends on where you buy it, but it's around $70 without any discounts. And this one, even though it's half a set, I think you can still get it secondhand for about 40 or 50, and then you have the TIE Advance with it and a Darth Vader figure, so that's a pretty good deal. But you can actually use this one and Bricklink just the ship, so get the the parts list for just this ship and not the entire set. Try to Bricklink it, and then you have a pretty cool looking Y-Wing for a really affordable price. But because for like 200 pieces, I think you have to pay about $30, and you'll have a pretty great Y-Wing. It looks amazing, and the best thing is, this one has more greebling, but I think with some effort, this one has so much flat surface with studs that you can actually do all the greebling yourself, making this one the easiest to modify to something that you actually like. So you could close up all these studs with tiles, making this one maybe even the more fun one to build and to customize. So having said that, is there actually a better Y-Wing? I don't think so. I mean, they're both great. I just wanted to show you guys what the differences are and what you could do with both. I think this is a more complete and finished set. If you buy it and build it, then that's about what you do with it. Not much room to customize, although I have seen some people to add even more greebling to it. I think this one is really cheap to Bricklink, pretty easy to modify, and it makes for a unique piece in that case. You could actually use other colors and make it, a red Squadron Y-Wing or anything you would like, and add some greebling of your own. So guys, that's my comparison of these two Y-Wings. I really hope you liked it. I will do more of these videos as soon as I have more versions of more ships. But for now, this is it. I really hope you liked the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next time.